Good morning. Good morning. This is Charles Coachman, and this is Coachman on Real Estate. Hope everyone is having a great day. And I just wanted to get going with some things. We do not have an interview today. We're going to change the format a little bit. We are taking a look at doing interviews on different days. So today I am going to be talking about history of business and real estate, and going to be talking about what we're going to be looking at for the future. I just moved everything and changed the items that I'm going to be looking at. And so today I am going to really be focusing on sellers, but I'm also going to be talking about what is happening with the Bay Area and what we may be looking at for sales prices in the future, and see what happens there. Because you know what? I don't care how many people we listen to and how many people think they know exactly what's going to happen in the real estate market. Nobody knows. Nobody knows for certain. We just can't. We cannot know. Last year it was said at this time, hey, there is going to be a leveling off, or we can expect pricing to go down. Prices to go down in the Bay Area. It's got to happen. Well, what happened? Something none of us were expecting. Something none of us put on as our to-do list or what we expect to do in 2020. Or this is what I'm forecasting for 2020, because we got hit with a pandemic. Nobody was expecting that. Sure, we have different things going on with our government. Last year, we were at a point, right now, we were getting ready for the impeachment trial. And we had our minds focused on different things. And then we get hit with a pandemic. Nobody knew that. Nobody knew what to expect. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult thing to call. It's a difficult thing when I'm over there polishing my crystal ball and it's still cloudy. But I'm going to take a look at an article that came out yesterday in the Mercury News so that we can talk about that. And then I want to focus on sellers on some important things that sellers need to be thinking about when they're ready to sell a home. I'm actually going to talk about a couple disclosures that are very important to any transaction that you may have. So let's take a look. I like to start my shows out by saying happy birthday to people who are on Facebook and that I'm friends with on Facebook, and friends with some folks in regular life, in real life, let's say that. So Elizabeth Castillo. I met Elizabeth at least a dozen years ago, and we were talking about how she could help me with the transaction that I needed help with. That was when she had a title company very near my home. And now Elizabeth is still working in the title industry, and just is a terrific lady. So Elizabeth, happy birthday. Stephen Johns, he's a person that I met through a group coaching session that we had with Larry Wingett, Scott McCain, and Randy Pennington. And we met down in Arizona. We met in Las Vegas. And Stephen has a landscaping company that does some of the most outrageous landscapes. Just beautiful. And of course, everything to do with your yards and making them just look astonishing. And Stephen is from Missouri, and I think they're right on the border of Illinois. So Stephen, happy birthday. Susan Silver is a real estate agent here in the South Bay, and Susan, wishing you a very happy birthday. And Dustin Sweeter is a realtor down in the Los Angeles area, if I'm not mistaken, by Buena Park. So Dustin, happy birthday to you. And I wish everyone, if it's your birthday, happy birthday to you. Go out and enjoy it. This is your day. Enjoy. So, like I was saying, I wanted to go on and talk about this article. And let's see. Here's my information. If you are looking to sell a home or buy a home, here's my information. I'd be glad to give you any information that I can on what's happening with the market and any help that you need. So you can reach me by cell phone, text, email. Check out my website. Leave us some information there. I would be glad to give you a hand. But today is all about information. And each day that we do this show, it is all about getting you good information so that you can make good choices in whatever you want to do in real estate. So I'm taking a look at this article. It says bright outlook for Bay Area home sales prices in 2021? Question mark. So it leads us to think. It says the financial pain of the pandemic failed to slow down the Bay Area housing market, and real estate economists forecast an even stronger 2021 with more sales, higher prices, and greater demands. So let's take a look at the history. What happened in 2020? We were starting off as a good year. We were expecting prices to maybe level off a bit. Pandemic hits. March is a very slow month here because everything is getting shut down. Everything is shut down, including the real estate market. You couldn't go out and show a home. So it slowed things down to a snail's pace. March goes by, everything opens up in April. You still cannot do open houses like you would normally do. And some people are afraid of what's going on with this pandemic. What is actually happening? So the real estate company, as real estate groups, CAR here in California, California Association of Realtors, they all get together and come up with a plan how to sell real estate in this changing economy, in this changing world. And they come up with plans. How can we do this safely? And that's what we want. We want to be able to run our businesses safely. Now, there were some people that could not get out and do business because of the pandemic. They just couldn't, because you're taking a risk with your life. If you are not a person that's healthy and you are of a certain age, you want to try and avoid those risks. So we were able to get ourselves open. And what do we see? We don't see as many houses on the market, but what we see is every home that's going on the market, if it was in good shape, it was selling. It was selling all year long. In Santa Clara County, not once did we get to a point where we had homes on the market for over 30 days. Now, there may have been certain homes that were on there for 30 days, but the properties available were always being outpaced by the sales. So you may have had 300 homes on the market at one point, but you were selling 400 homes each month. So it was crazy. You would have about 2 weeks of inventory available. And what has that done? The availability has been low, so it has driven prices up. Right now in San Jose, single family homes are averaging, the median home price is about 1.25 million. 1.25. The average home price throughout the Bay Area, I believe it's either 8 counties or 9 counties, surrounding areas, is about $800,000. You've got places like Palo Alto, where you're above $2 million. We have to watch what's happening. But throughout last year, we had low availability of homes and premium buyers out there looking for homes. We have pent up buyer demand because we're just not getting enough homes on the market in those areas that people want to live and are seeking their opportunities there. So prices have kept going up, being offset though by interest rates that are at historical lows. We're seeing interest rates at times at 2.5%. And if you're looking at a 15-year loan, you might be able to get it below 2%. Below 2%. The first time that I ever went out to look at homes, when I was thinking I was a buyer and I was going to go out and get a place so I could start making money on a house, looked at a condo in Berryessa in San Jose. Mortgage interest rates were nearly 20%. When I went to look, it was 18 3/4. So 18.75%. To buy a $60,000 to $75,000 condo, you had to be making about $5,000 a month. I was a little shy of that in 1980. A little shy of that. It was a few years before I was making that kind of money. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. But now, here the home prices are much higher, but the interest rates are what we need to take a look at also. If the interest rates go up, we know that the home prices are going to come down a bit. And we have already been assured that interest rates are going to stay low. So what does that mean? We may see escalating home prices, but they're not going to escalate by the amounts that they did over the last decade. We are seeing homes going up 10 to 20% a year. We're not going to see that. I believe that we're going to see homes maybe go up 5%. And I believe what they were saying in the Bay Area is they look for things to go up possibly 4 to 5%. 4 to 5%. So, and that's still a lot of money. If you buy $1 million home, your home's still going to increase in value by $40,000. That's good money. That's good money. So we have to take a look at that. So what I am saying to folks right now, if you are looking to buy, which I hope that everyone is in the market to buy a home, those that do not own, because the reality is home ownership is good for most people. To be able to call a place home is good for you. It's good for yourself. It's good for your soul. You want to feel good about owning a home, but you don't want to feel the constant pressure. If you are out there making a good salary, maybe you do not have enough money for a good down payment, but you can still, if you can put 10% down, you can get a pretty nice loan. Now, if you're going to go in with an FHA loan where you have to put in 3.5%, you can find a home for $825,000 or $875,000, whatever the limits are right now. But you can go out and find something in the Bay Area and stay within those limits and become a homeowner. So there are opportunities in the Bay Area. There are plenty of opportunities. But is it in the area that you want to live? Now, those areas like the Silicon Valley, it's more difficult, and you are really not going to find homes under $800,000 that are going to come and be in livable condition. In San Jose, I think right now there may be a couple of homes under $500,000. A couple. Now, you're going to live on the outskirts of San Jose or the outskirts of the Silicon Valley, but you can find them. But they're going to need a lot of work. When you are looking at San Jose, you're going to be taking a look at close to $1 million. Close to $1 million. Now, around the country, when we look at the country as a whole, median home price is still around $300,000 to $350,000. And that is still a lot of money for some areas. But you got to take a look at it. But it's offset by the interest rates. We have to take a look at it. Now, I wanted to break in and talk about sellers and what you need to do and some of the paperwork that you're going to need to do when you are interested in putting your home on the market. There's a couple of disclosures that are the most important items when you come to putting your home on the market. And they can stall a sale if you don't do it correctly. They can cost you after the sale if you have not been truthful. So one of the things realtors like myself will tell clients is that you need to disclose. There is nothing more important than making sure what you are disclosing is truthful. So one of the disclosures that you need to take a look at, and the most important one, is called the Real Estate Transfer Disclosure Statement. And so we call that the TDS. The TDS. And what it's asking, and I'll read this bolden part. The disclosure statement concerns real estate situated in the city, San Jose County of Santa Clara, described as whatever the address is. This statement is a disclosure of the condition of the above described property in compliance with Section 1102 of the Civil Code. It is not a warranty of any kind by the sellers or agents representing any principals in this transaction. Is not a substitute for any inspections or warranties principals may wish to obtain. We have to understand that. What it's asking for, and it's extremely important, what it's asking for is, do you have these items in the house? And it's going to list, I'll talk to you about the items, some of the items that it's listed. The subject property has the items checked below. Does it have a range, oven, microwave, dishwasher, trash compactor, garbage disposal, washer and dryer hookups, rain gutters, burglar alarms, carbon monoxide devices, fire detectors, fire alarm, TV antenna, satellite dish, intercom, central heating, central air conditioning. It's going to ask all those things, and you just check those boxes. And you have to be honest. Hey, yes, the home has this. Yes, it has that. Yes, it has this. If it doesn't have this, it also says, are you hooked up to the public sewer system? Or are you using a septic tank? You want to make sure that you have everything correct there. Do you have a gas supply? Do you have a pool? Do you have a hot tub? Do you have water conserving devices, plumbing devices? What type of roof do you have? How old is the roof? If you know that. You want to make sure that you've got that on there. It will also ask you, what kind of defects are you aware of? Do you have interior walls that are damaged? Ceiling, floors, exterior walls, insulation, the roof, windows, doors, foundation, slabs, driveways, sidewalks, walls, and fences, plumbing, or other structural components. Are you aware of any defects? Disclose, disclose, disclose. That's one of the most important things that you can do. Disclose. It will also go through and it will ask you various questions. Again, we call this and we refer to it as the TDS, the Transfer Disclosure Statement. It is very, very important to have this filled out accurately. And your real estate agent cannot fill it out for you. You have to fill this form out yourself. So make sure that you're doing that. Make sure that you are aware of exactly what's happened in your house so that you can fill this in. Nobody else can fill it out for you, especially your realtor. And you want to make sure that it's done properly. What happens if you have to change something during a transaction? You're already in contract and something is discovered and you need to change this disclosure statement. It gives automatically, it gives the buyer 3 days to back out of a transaction. Automatically, it gives them an extended 3 days. Or they can say that they accept it and you're ready to move on. But if you leave things out and the buyer finds these things out during the time of inspections, you have to give them an additional 3 days where they can move out and back out of completing this transaction. You want to make sure that you're doing the proper things. Get it marked properly. You want to make sure, again, disclose, disclose, disclose. Anything that you're aware of that affects the property value, you want to make sure that you do it. You and your realtor will have to sign this, and you are letting the buyer or prospective buyer know that this is truthful, completed. I'm going to read what's towards the end of this. Section 1102.3 of the Civil Code provides a buyer with the right to rescind a purchase contract for at least 3 days after the delivery of this disclosure, if delivery occurs after the signing of an offer to purchase. If you wish to rescind the contract, you must act within the prescribed period. A real estate broker is qualified to advise on real estate. If you desire legal advice, consult your attorney. This is important. This is very, very important. This is one of the most important disclosures that you'll have to come up with and that you'll have to fill out completely to make a home transaction complete. And you want to be honest. Now, the second disclosure that we have and that we talk about, and it's very similar to the TDS, is called the Seller Property Questionnaire, or SPQ. And this is, again, it's going to walk you through basically every part of your home, and it's going to be asking you questions. And again, we do everything that we can to answer these disclosures properly. We want to make sure that we are given complete and honest answers. I'm going to go ahead and read the bold part of this disclosure. The following are representations made by the seller and not the representation of the agents, if any. The disclosure statement is not a warranty of any kind by the seller or agents and is not a substitute for any inspections or warranties the principal or principals may wish to obtain. The disclosure is not intended to be part of the contract between the buyer and seller. Otherwise specified in writing, broker and any real estate licensee or other person working with or through a broker has not verified information provided by seller. A real estate broker is qualified to advise on real estate transaction. If seller or buyer desires legal advice, they should consult an attorney. Note to seller, the purpose of this disclosure: to tell the buyer about known material or significant items affecting the value or desirability of this property and help eliminate misunderstandings about the condition of the property. That is so important. Now, it is going to go through one of the biggest questions, and it's especially important in the Bay Area because we have a lot of different ethnicities. We are definitely a melting pot in the Bay Area. Statutorily or contractually required or related. Are you the seller aware of, within the last 3 years, the death of an occupant of the property upon the property? Within the last 3 years, has anyone died on the property? Extremely important. An order from a government health official identifying the property as being contaminated by methamphetamine. If the home had ever had drug dealers in it, those making, mixing, or distributing methamphetamine. The release of illegally controlled substance on or beneath the property. Whether the property is located in or adjacent to an industrial use zone. Whether the property is affected by a nuisance created by an industrial use zone. Whether the property is located within 1 mile of a former or state ordinance location. Whether the property is a condominium or located in a planned unit development or other common interest subdivisions. Any insurance claims, any other matters affecting the property. You have to answer those questions, and you do it to the best of your ability. Now, something might come up, but you have to disclose that. So I've taken up about a half hour here. These disclosures are 3 and 4 pages long. We want to make sure that you are disclosing exactly everything that needs to be disclosed. We want to make sure that it does it. We want to save you some headache and some heartache in the future. And I hope we can do that. Now, tomorrow I'll be back on at 9 o'clock. If you've got any questions, go ahead and send me an email. Let's get that back in there. You can send me an email at Coachman, O-N-R-E, so it's Coachman on Real Estate, at gmail.com. And you can send me an email there, or you can send me a text, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you possibly have. And we are always looking to help other folks. We have been in business for 13 going on 14 years. I've lived here in San Jose in the Silicon Valley for 30 years. I know the areas pretty well. And we are looking to help others throughout the Bay Area. I hope that you have a great day. I thank you for stopping in today. If you would share this out, it would be greatly appreciated. If you want to share it with any of your friends, please do that. We are on YouTube. You can just look me up under Charles Coachman. And you can watch shows in the past where we've also done interviews. And we will continue to do interviews as we find topics that people want to discuss. So have a great day. I look forward to speaking to you again tomorrow, and we'll see you soon. This is Charles Coachman, Coachman on Real Estate. Have a great day.